All right, Anthony, let's take a look at your paper. MLA format first. Number one, this is not all the way over. Should be over here further. The paper, the date that you should put on the paper is the day that it's due. So this should have said 6 March 2017. This is a weak title. I mean, it could be related to anything of Scottish King. I mean, not specifically Macbeth and not specifically about your theme. Now, number one, here's another thing. I'm going to fix this for you right now, and you can thank me later. This is not left justified. All right, so that is fixed. As we start, a couple things. Me, you cannot use me. This is supposed to be in third person point of view, so you'll lose a point for that. So provided you with a quote on PTSD. Now, what I'd rather have you do is just start with a quote. And then what you're missing right here is a citation. So just start with a quote and cite it, and then explain what this has to do with, because you don't do that at all. You jump right into the topic that Macbeth suffers from PTSD. Spell it out and then put PTSD, in parentheses, something like that. But you can't just, A, this is a weak way to start. B, you don't follow this up with anything. C, you jump right into the topic right after it. So there's still some attention material here at the beginning of this introduction that you need to deal with. So you're saying after he kills Duncan, he develops PTSD. Everything's changed negatively. He has to cope with. So these are all your main points. Macbeth's PTSD has led to constant guilt and worry, pushing him to his ultimate downfall. Now, similar to what a lot of people have been doing that I'm questioning, this seems more like plot. Is the only thing you're going to say in your body that he just feels guilt and worry, and that leads to his downfall? If so, you're not digging deep enough. So hopefully that's not the case as we read your first body paragraph. Otherwise, I think you probably need to switch up your thesis statement. All right, Anthony, here we go. Weak topic sentence to start everything off. You can't just say, here's this first symptom. You have a problem with space. You got not enough space there, too much space there, too much space there. This period should be down here for punctuation. This semicolon is wrong. You got a space issue here. Go back through and really look at those silly mistakes, because those can add up. Especially a college professor looking at your work for the first time and he sees silly mistakes like that. That's going to pretty negatively affect you. I mean, I know you, some college professor doesn't, so just watch out for that. So you do have some good outside sources here, which is good, which sets up a little bit about Macbeth. You have some specific examples in here that work well. You do have a little bit of wording problem, but after his first murder, he has so much worry and guilty verdict what he has done. Like he has so much guilty verdict what he has done. I think that's really awkward. You might want to switch that around. The horrificness of murder. You do have good word choice in here. Trepidation. No qualms of savagely killing them. So you do have some good word choice in here. So good job with that. Remember, your period will go at the end here. Actually, in this one, your period doesn't take out, because this is the middle of the sentence. Telling Lady Macbeth, we will proceed no further in his business when discussing his plans to murder Duncan. So you even don't need that there because your period's actually right there. Later in the play, comma, he's lost all, so on and so forth. So you got a lot of plot here. Now, let's think about how it ties into the thesis. So, he's changed so negatively that he has no qualms of killing them. His actions continually show he has lost affection towards his loved ones. Have we got to the heart of that thesis here, the constant guilt and worry? I don't know if we really got to the guilt part or the worry part in here, because then you go over to another plot point about Lady Macbeth, and I really like he spends no more than a few breaths thinking about her. That's really good. I think we worked on that together too. He goes beyond emotional change. It also affects his physical and emotional reactions. So good transition here. But I really feel like this is not a whole lot of connection with your thesis statement here. You have a lot of good information, got some good quotes and some good examples, but it doesn't really tie that well in yet. All right, you're lacking a strong topic sentence at all in here. I don't know if you really even have one. People of the battle lane, so this is the symptom, but you haven't tied it into the play yet. As stated by the Mayo Clinic, move this to the end of the sentence down here, because this interrupts the flow of the sentence too much. These would be brackets, by the way, that go in here. So those would be brackets instead of parentheses, because parentheses inside parentheses need to be brackets. So people can be easily startled or frightened and always on guard for danger, and because of the guilt or shame. So now you brought in the topic of your thesis at least, but I don't think you've really developed it that much. So he develops this extreme guilt. He used the quote here, which is a great quote. He immediately tells Lady Macbeth, comma. This is a sorry site. You would never use a semicolon in that way. After murdering Duncan, this is the one this is the part I don't get. Okay. So after murdering Duncan, Macbeth becomes so uneasy of someone finding out that he feels it is necessary to kill Banquo and Duncan. Well, you said after murdering Duncan, so what does killing Duncan have to do with that end part? So that doesn't make any sense. If you just had Banquo, that's fine. Macbeth states, comma, and then that. You have two periods here. You're like trying to double protect yourself here, so get rid of this one. Don't need it there. So this shows he is paranoid that Banquo will discover what Macbeth has done. That's just plot. Every little thing anyone does makes Macbeth suspicious and uneasy, but you don't back it up. And then Macbeth's murder of Duncan has forced him to live with constant fear of being exposed. This is like almost a really good topic sentence, and I like this idea that this being exposed for what he really is a really good topic sentence. And I don't even know if you can connect it with this a little bit, your last main point. Maybe you can, I'm not sure. But I think that would be a really good way to maybe frame this paragraph, if you could. Again, you have good support for the most part, but you just got some wording problems, and tying it into your thesis too has become a problem so far. All right, again, a weak topic sentence. You got to fix that. Mayo Clinic is capitalized. You're again trying to tie the thesis in, which is good, but it's weak at this particular point, especially in this paragraph where you don't spend a whole lot of time trying to explain it. Remember the brackets around this. In Act 3, Scene 4, comma, Macbeth has his most prominent intrusive memory. So here's a proper use of semicolon. That's good. And he says, quote, not colon. And why? I'm not sure that this is necessary to your to the plot of it. It's the fact that he sees it is the important part. So I don't even know if you need to include that. So then you bring in sleep, you bring in the quote about sleep, and then you don't really say anything about sleep. Basically you say that it's already haunting his sleep, which I would try to bring back in the idea of guilt, remorse, worry. I mean, that's a byproduct right after he kills Duncan. And I would, yeah, never mind. I was going to say you can almost make this a little bit more chronological, but I don't think you can necessarily. But yeah, you don't really have a lot to tie it back to the thesis, so we really got to try to tie that back to the thesis. So restate of your thesis statement. This would be a wrong use of semicolon. This isn't an independent sentence here. You need to make sure that you have really strong sentences of summary. I mean, this leads to this. Theses all come to head with intrusive memories, so fix that. Much stronger. You can have a much stronger set of conclusionary sentences there. This is totally false. Shakespeare might have known how people felt when they returned from war, but I doubt he actually knew the symptoms of PTSD in 1600 whatever when this was written, or 1590 whatever when this was written. So I mean, I like the sentiment that you're trying to create here, that he's trying to show how war could affect people, but certainly not PTSD specifically. Works Cited to Pay gets its own page. Has to be in alphabetical order, so this has got to get moved up. If he wrote this, then his name should go first, which when you used it up here, okay, so you used it correctly based on how you wrote it, but you wrote it wrong. So if he really is the author of this website, verywell.com, then his name needs to go first. So make sure that you fix that. And then, well, I guess if this is correct, then you do have it if you make his last name first, then you do have it in alphabetical order. Otherwise, you got to put it in alphabetical order. All right, Anthony, you do some things well. Still need to do some things to clean up grammar and tying in that thesis. So hopefully we'll see a read right out of you.